Hey, it's Joy Foster, founder of TechPixies, and I am really excited about today's podcast. I am going to speak with some incredible alumni who have been a part of our program and who've transformed into these incredible, they were incredible women in the beginning, but now they're transformed women with their amazing businesses. So first to the stage is Julia. Thank you for joining, Julia. I am so glad you're here.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's really exciting to get to talk to you. Let's just start by telling us a little bit more, or tell everyone who's here a little bit more about you, or if they're listening on the podcast. What were you doing before TechPixies, and what are you doing now?
Okay, so I'm a creative of all types, and before I joined TechPixies, I was working as a creative brand manager. So that encompassed, working for lots of different retail brands such as Hobbs and Fig Leaves, with their end-to-end creative process. So a bit of graphic design, web support, photography, art direction, the whole thing, which I absolutely loved. And I went on maternity leave with my daughter, who's 4 today, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. And whilst I was on maternity leave, it was like a real opportunity for me to start thinking about what other options there might be out there that were a bit more flexible, and how I could build a career that I would love working for myself. And that's when I came across TechPixies, and I felt at that point like adding some social media skills to my broad range of repertoire could really help me go when I decided to go it alone.
And now you have gone it alone, so we'll come to that a little bit later and how that's worked for you and your family. How did you first find out about TechPixies? Do you remember?
I think it was through social media, I'm sure. And it was in 2018, so it was when the course was transitioning from being more of a face-to-face course into being online. I think it was one of the first online ones that was run that way. So yeah, I'm sure it must have been through social media. Oh no, that's it. I went to a talk about a brilliant book by Deborah Kahn called She's Back. And I was looking at some other rival digital courses. And she said, don't do those, do TechPixies. I know Joy and you'll love it. And da, 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 da. And so that was it. It was on her recommendation. And she was the one in that book. It's really good. It says about playing the long game. And I had a chat with her after at this event, and I said, I really want to quit my job. I want to do something else. She said, don't quit a good job, but play the long game. Think about what it is that you want to do the course, like think it through. And I really expected them to just be like gung-ho, no, just follow the dream, do what you want to do. But it was through her advice that I did the course.
Oh, that's great. Well, I love Deb and I love that book. Can't recommend it enough. So that's a great point, though. You were wanting to go on your own, go it alone. You obviously were going to play the long game, stay in the career you had until you could go it alone. What was your biggest problem as you were trying to go it alone? What was the thing that was stopping you from being able to do that right away?
Yeah, I think it was confidence. It was my own limiting belief. It was my own, well, surely I can't do that. That sounds too big and bold and brave. And, maybe I don't have this skill and maybe I don't have that skill. So definitely a lot to do with confidence. And that's where the course helped a lot. And it was obviously brilliant to learn all the social media stuff and be part of the community and really build that. But yeah, it was definitely confidence. And there was quite a lot around the security of, being in an employed role and, with a young family. And I'm sure lots of people will feel this way as well, is that I was like, well, what happens if I don't have the income? What happens if I can't make as much money as I need to? So there was a lot of that. And I remember some of those early conversations in coaching, which were about, women having financial independence, and I didn't feel like that was something that was available. So there was a lot of that.
What direction do you think your career would have gone if you hadn't tackled the confidence problem that you were facing?
I think well, the company that I was working for went under, so that I was made redundant ultimately. I could quite still possibly be working for that company if they were still there. It was very flexible and easy for me to stay. Or I'd be probably doing something very similar, but it wouldn't be what my heart was telling me I really needed to be doing. And I think that by really digging deep into what it was that I was able to do and what my, my USP and my skills were, I was able to get that confidence and go for it.
Well, okay, so now we know you've got that confidence, you made that transition, but I want to know a little bit more. How would you describe yourself now?
Yeah, I'm so much more confident. I really, the things that I'm doing day in, day out with women I don't know and reaching out to clients and contacts, and I kind of never thought I would be doing it in quite the same way that I am. Some of the first opportunities I was given was to do some workshops for some big groups of people, and a lot of it was out of my natural comfort zone, but I just fought the fear and did it anyway. And yeah, I'm so much more confident day in, day out, and I love the work that I'm doing. It's so much more rewarding. It couldn't be better.
Well, that's what I'd love to know. So what's changed for you?
So the way I'm running my business now is that I am able to kind of juggle my own time, manage my own time, not juggle my own time, manage my own time. So before it felt like more of a stressful juggle, and now I'm working school hours. So my daughter started school in September, so I'm able to work, a flexible day. And when I want, I'm not working in the evenings. I'm able to kind of structure that how it works for me. And I've got a really broad range of brilliant clients and women that I'm working with on branding projects. And it's just really ticking all the boxes in terms of the way that I like to work. It's there's a lot to do, but it's I'm managing my own time and my own creativity.
Oh, that's amazing. And I know that's a dream that a lot of women would love. And I love how
Yeah,
you reframe that from juggling to managing.
yeah,
One thing we talk about all the time at TechPixies, especially through the neuro coaching, is how important the words we use are. What we say to
yeah,
ourselves, what we realize we're saying to ourselves. So many times we're unconsciously, subconsciously speaking to ourselves. And those words are so just so important. And I love how you reframed that. So, I mean, can you share a little bit more? I mean, obviously, up to you how much you want to share, but in
yeah.
terms of the income that you're earning now versus the income that you were earning before, tell us a little bit more about that if you feel comfortable. You don't have to tell us the numbers, but maybe
No,
just
no,
tell us
that's fine. Yeah.
relatively.
So before I was working 3 days, so I did have flexibility in my old role, which is part of the reason I stayed there for quite so long. But it was okay money. It wasn't incredible. Um, but in the 6 months since I've had my business, I've managed to in that 6 months, I've earned my year's salary that I would have done in my old job. And that's partly because when I first started, as a lot of women will do, and a lot of tech pixies will do, didn't charge enough. And then I started kind of, as my confidence increased and I realized that I didn't need to be so desperate for the work. The work was coming, the work was finding me, and people were finding me. I was able to kind of gradually increase my prices to a place where they felt good. I got I've had some good contracts. And I've had some regular clients and people that keep coming back for more work. So it's felt really good. And I think every month I'm still in a bit of a salaried head. And every month I have to kind of feel like, oh, have I earned this much this month? Have I earned this much? And then you get to the point where you're like, actually, this is the picture now. And when I totted it up and thought, actually, this 6-month picture used to be my annual picture, you think, okay, I can take the pressure off now. Like, this is, and it's learning to be grateful for that as well, and think this isn't just, hopefully, this isn't just one good month. This is a good 6 months, and hopefully it'll be another 6 months. And being really grateful to be in that situation, and be around for the family more.
I love how you brought in gratitude, because we talk about that a lot at TechPixies. The language of abundance is the language of gratitude. And I know that it takes a while to shift into that space of gratitude, because sometimes you're not there, and it takes a while to get there. But once you're there, and you realize how thankful you are. I mean, I look back sometimes and I think I'm so thankful for the women who've come through our program, so thankful for women like you and so many of the others, because you believed in yourself. It's important for people to understand that an investment in upskilling is not an investment in the program. It's an investment in you, because you're the one who has to still do the work. You can't just sign up for a program and magically it gives you results. You've got to actually do the work. You got to show up for the coaching calls. You've been on a lot of the coaching calls. You've received advice. You've given advice. You've been there for the community. You've been in the community. You showed up. You did the work. And I think that makes a huge difference. But it's not an investment in the program or the course. It's an investment in you. What could you say to that?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I remember many of the calls and things that we've done, and I think you have to apply it. You can't just listen and not do. I think all of the different exercises that we had, which were part of changing your mindset and your shift into what it could be, and that breakdown to breakthrough call that I had with you was, I remember so clearly you saying to me, but what's the worst that would happen? Like, what is the worst that would happen? And I think sometimes now when you think about, you can over escalate things into a point where you're like, actually, just give it a go, just have a go, try it, see what happens. You can build it into such a big thing. But yeah, definitely it's about doing the work, and the TechPixies community is just so brilliant to still be a part of. I'm still working with so many TechPixies day in, day out. And it's just a fabulous community.
I think that's been one of the really cool things that's come out as the community's gotten bigger. There's been more room for collaborations, more people from different backgrounds. I think what's interesting is everyone needs social media. So we have people in the community with all sorts of different backgrounds. We've got people with branding backgrounds, website backgrounds, graphic design. There's a million different knitting, crochet, dogs, gardening. It's like the array is huge. And actually, TechPixies want to buy from TechPixies, which is so cool, because when someone's looking for an interior designer, they're going to look for TechPixie first. And I think a huge part of that has to do with the mindset shifts that everyone in the program knows the other TechPixies have had too. So when you're working with someone who's got an abundance mindset. You're working with someone who's got a creative outlook, and you're working with someone who's had a transformation personally, from the inside out. And I think that you speak the same language, and I think that's why it's become really special.
Yeah, it's really true. It's absolutely true. And I've been really inspired by so many of the other stories that have, of people that have gone through the program, and women that have transformed their lives as well. And it does make you think, well, if they can do it, I can do it too, surely,
Yeah, well, we have like that famous Friday post, which is, post your wins, and it has become so popular. I think the last few weeks we've had over 450 comments on it. Everyone gets to drop in their promotions, and they get to, cheer each other on. I think it's really important to share your wins every week, because then other people see what's possible. And I think that's, if, like you said, if she can do it, I can do it. And,
everybody wants to see each other succeed, right? When you're in that place. And I think even for me, where I'm not directly working in social media, so the most that I do really in terms of obviously create my own content. I did have some social media clients at the beginning, but realized that probably wasn't quite the right space for me. But now I'm able to collaborate with other tech pixies and say, well, you can bolt on my design service and I'll bolt on your social media service. And, there's so much more of that going on and conversations around that all the time. But if I hadn't done the course and got into Instagram in particular, I get a lot of my clients through Instagram. I get a lot of recommendations through Instagram. And if I hadn't done that training, and a lot of the things that the designs that I create for people have that strategy backbone that I learned at TechPixies. And then people are like, oh, she's not just making it look good. Like, it's actually going to work for my content and it's going to make it easier. And I'm talking the language that everybody needs when they're doing their grids.
I love that. So if someone's considering joining our social media mastery program, what would you say to them? What would you tell that person is possible in the very near future if they take that leap of faith?
Well, my latest mantra is anything is possible, because I really do believe it. Anything is possible. If, like we said, if you are dedicated, if you want to make the investment, you want to make the change, do the work and put in the effort, then it's totally transformational. And I have done that, and I have done that journey. I've changed my career, and it's changed all our lives in our family. And I think that it was the absolutely best thing, and I will forever be grateful to TechPixies for giving me the confidence boost and the quantum leap that I needed to do it.
Oh, I love that, Julia. Well, I have another question for you. What does the future look like for you?
Okay, well, the future is exciting. I've got loads of plans for next year already. I'm doing, I have got a website at the moment, which was a very quick and dirty that I set up when I did a webinar when I launched the business. And now I'm having a full remodel of the website so that it showcases more of what I'm doing and how I can help people. Next year, I'm going to invest in myself again, and I'm going to train to be a coach. So when I am promoting myself as a brand coach, I can actually have that as a formal qualification, because a lot of the support I give people isn't just, here's a lovely logo, crack on with it. It's a lot of women feel quite overwhelmed by the creative process, and they need a bit more nurture and help making creative decisions. For some people, that's just not a day in, day out thing. So that's something I'm looking to do next year. And I'm also bringing on board someone to help me.
That's a big step. I love it.
Yeah, I know.
I was talking to a tech pixie the other day, and I was asking, how she was doing and kind of her long-term plans. And she was talking about her staff. And I was like, I love it. I love that tech pixies are now doing so well that they're hiring people. I mean, this is why it just, blows my mind, because that's a big step, hiring someone. For a lot of people, there's a lot of mindset shifts you got to make to do that.
Yeah.
And I love that you're making that step. This is so good. Well, we've got people who are live watching this right now, and I would love if they have questions to drop them in the chat, because I'd love to ask those questions. Leanne Brown's here watching today. She says, I work with TechPixies too, and it's wonderful. She says it's a no-brainer. TechPixies Social Media Mastery is the best course, community, accountability, and support there is. I love that.
So
Leanne.
true.
And Leanne's been in our community for a long time. Nicola knows you, of course, and she says, Julia is a great coach already.
Oh, thanks, Nicola.
I love that. And Janet's joining us. She's tucking into a late breakfast, and she's enjoying watching us chat. So if anyone has any questions directly for Julia, that would be great. Well, I've got you for a few more minutes, and while we're waiting for any questions to come in, what I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned something earlier, and I think this is a great little chance to do a little top tip teaching. You said a lot of your clients come from Instagram. So what are some of your top tips for getting clients on Instagram? I think that'll be a nice little bonus information for people.
So a lot of my clients that come through Instagram now are people that know me already. So it's definitely about building a community, and taking the time to do that strong engagement piece, especially in the beginning, to make sure that you know the people that are following you in a way that you can, and definitely through direct messages, like nothing cold, but just trying to get across that conversation and keep that conversation going. I Interestingly as well, I've had a couple of inquiries that have come from doing lives. So that's would be another big tip for me, is that although again that feels out of your comfort zone, if there's someone, especially another tech pixie, that can kind of add to your skill set and they can add to you, so it's a really mutual collaboration.
I've loved those collaborations, the live Instagram collaborations between
Yeah.
these. Those are so much fun.
And it takes a bit of time. It does take a bit of time, but I think if you and it you can feel a bit like, oh, do I really have to be doing this again right now? But it is really worth it. And every time I start to feel a bit demoralized with Instagram, I then get a client post something. A couple of clients yesterday posted things that and tagged me in it, and then I get new followers and I get new people talking about what I've been doing and how I've been helping them, and you think actually that's what it's all about. So I would definitely say authentically build a community of people that you can have a conversation with, people that you can collaborate with, and share that conversation. And the more people hear you talking about what you can do, and they're like, oh yeah, I need that.
I love that. Well, and of course, we did our social media crash course recently, and I was telling people that I was talking about the sunflower effect, and I was talking about creating a way to basically convert your social media subscribers or your social media community, which is a better word, into an email list and an email community. Because basically organic social media only gets seen by 3 to 10% of your community, whereas emails get opened 20 to 40%, sometimes even up to 60%, depending on how much clout you have with your audience, or your community, we should say. I really think community is so much better than audience, following, subscribers, because that's what it becomes when you have engagement and people are chatting and connecting with each other. It's so important. So now you have a mailing list, and you have a way of getting people onto your mailing list. And so what do you offer to entice people to get onto your mailing list? Because we were coming up with ideas last night when we were doing the social media crash course, we were coming up with ideas for how people could connect with people beyond social media and into email. What did you do?
So my very first and most successful lead magnet that I created from Instagram was a brand toolkit. So it's an editable one-page Canva template that you can go and you can put in your fonts and your colors and it's a one-page cheat sheet, and it just it helps you see if you've got everything you need for your brand in one place. It gets you organized. It's a really, really simple tool, but lots of people have loved it. And I've done a few other things since then. And so I do have a mailing list, and I really love doing a weekly newsletter to my base. And it's really lovely when people, reply directly to that email, and they say, oh, I've seen this and I've seen that. And it's just a really good way to keep up the conversation that is slightly different to what you would put on your Instagram potentially. So that's been my best one so far, but I'm looking to do others.
where can people get a hold of that in case they want it? I know I grabbed it when you put it out. I was like, I want that. I love Canva. In fact, we have a free Canva training for Canva vision boards. So, if people want to create a Canva vision board, which is the first step that we tell TechPixies to do with Canva, because it's a great way to learn the tool, but also some personal development as well. So where can people they can get a hold of our vision board at techpixies.com/Canva, but where can they get a hold of your branding board?
So my links are available if you go to my Instagram handle there at This Is Be Creative, and then there's a link in bio. I think it might the lead magnet that's there at the moment, I think might be my color guide, which is another great one to check out. That's that one at the moment. But I can maybe add a link to it in the chat after.
Yeah, that'd be great. Or you can
just,
if someone DMs you, you could also send it back to them there.
Yeah.
I'll just put up there the techpixies.com/Canva if you want to get started with your Canva vision board, which is the first step to becoming a Tech Pixie. Really, is starting to think about your future. Did you create a Canva vision board while you were at TechPixies?
I did, yeah.
And do you still use that?
Yeah, I need to do a new one. I did one in the very beginning, and then we repeated the exercise with Teresa a few years later, I think. And I did it again, and it was really different. And now I think I need to do another one.
Well, I mean, they are the kind of things you want to update on a regular basis. Did you ever look back on the first one and go, "Oh my gosh, I achieved all of that"?
Yeah, there was a lot in there which was about, like what we said, there was about a bit more kind of a lot of it was about the fact that I felt creatively frustrated. I felt like I was doing a lot of what I could do, and it was easy and it was comfortable, but it wasn't really lighting me up anymore, to put it a better way. So there was a lot about that. There was a lot about in the board, and also kind of that financial independence more and things like that. And looking back on it, I was then like, oh yeah, this is great progress. There's always more that you want to do. That's the thing. Once you start off down the route, you're like, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And but I think doing the exercise as well as having the visuals, that's what stayed with me too. So I've still got the image in my mind.
I love that. Lindsay says she used your branding board. It was fantastic.
Yeah, she did. Lindsay was brilliant with it. She was one of the first people to actually show me what she'd done. So it was amazing. I loved that. It was really early on for me having created it, and she sent it back to me and she was like, this is what I've done. Does it look good? And I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Well, Stephanie says, I grabbed it too, loved the toolkit, and also loved working with Julia on my branding. You're brilliant to work with, yet to launch, but coming soon. I love that so much.
Yay.
Well, I want to thank you, Julia, for your time and your openness. And I hope this has inspired some people who might be sitting on the fence about joining Social Media Mastery, that they can see what's possible. And
absolutely. Yeah.
What I love is, if it's possible for you, it's possible for them. And that's the most important thing to take away. And also to remember that this is not an investment in a program. This is an investment in you personally and your future. And the path you're on now is entirely different than the path you would have been on had you not made the choice to move forwards with personal development, to move forwards with training. Yeah. And I just,
it has been amazing. It has been really amazing. And it absolutely is an investment in your own potential and what you can get out of it.
Do you have any final words of wisdom for those who are listening to this?
Yeah, I think just don't limit yourself by thinking that those opportunities aren't out there. If there's something in your mind that you want to do, whether it's a completely new job or change, set up your own business or, get back into work, then it is a really, really great place for getting the confidence you need, the skills you need, with a huge group of supportive women that have just always got your back.
Ah, so true. And Steph says, absolutely, so good to see how many Tech Pixies have developed and grown. All right, Julia, well, I appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
That's lovely. Here. Thanks so much for having me here and talking today. And thank you for all the Tech Pixie support. It's just been incredible.